Hey, thank you for joining us. My name is Lamont Jones. I got my brother Jay May from the NYC. Listen, we are the co-founders of Further and Fathering. We've been bringing you this webinar series from this book here, Getting to the Heart of Fathers. I hope that it has been a treasure to you. It has for us. We've been looking back at it, sharing clips virtually. It is something that, again, we wrote this over 10 years ago. So
Mhm.
think about that, over a decade. And it
Yes,
resonates with us to this day.
yes.
The beautiful thing is this. We're gonna roll with a clip. Jay,
Yeah.
say what's up, man. You got
Hey,
anything you
hey,
want to add, brother, before
no,
we roll to
yeah,
this
yeah,
clip?
yeah. Reconciliation is big. It is big. It's something that we must apply in all relationships, and uh, it's one of the most powerful principles in Further and Fathering that it's where the rubber meets the road. As men, we try to fix things, and sometimes we rush in to fix things, and you have to learn the power of patience because this is a process.
Yeah,
Reconciliation is a process. It's not something that can be done with one conversation, one action, one argument. It's something that takes commitment
that's right.
to betterment. It takes a commitment, and as we say, it's restoring, repairing, and redeeming relationships back to health, productivity, and testimony. The repairing is the repairing something that's broken. The restoring is restoring something that's lost, and the redeeming is fix is bringing back to pristine, bringing back to optimal what is tarnished, what has been corrupted, and we're serious about it because the only way to improve is to reconcile, even personally, in your
Come
own
on.
habits. I can get into the habits. I have acronyms for that. We can get into that later.
No,
Yes.
no, Jay, and that was great, man. Great segue into
Yeah.
this clip, man. But
Yeah.
um, what I love is this is that part of this workbook. It's a buildup. So
Mm.
we walk through honor, we walk through encouragement, we walk through accountability.
Yes.
Because um, Jay and I was having these conversations years ago, and here's what I remember him telling me. I was frustrated in a space where at the time my boys were in their teenage years. And I wasn't dad 2.0 yet. I was dad one.
Right.
And there was a lot of conflict, a lot of friction. And I remember him telling me, you got to till the soil. You got to prepare the soil before you could plant the seed.
Right.
It
Yeah.
it so
Yeah.
I had to learn how to recondition my thinking
Yes.
and think about what I was thinking and doing at their age. I wasn't getting it, and I realized I missed something
Mm.
that they were fortunate to have.
Yes. Yes.
I missed what it was like to be the son, to have a
Hmm.
dad speaking into my ear, into my life. I missed
Right.
that. I didn't know how to adjust.
Right.
And I had to really fall back and be like, man, how do I approach this where I want them to receive it? I don't want them
Right.
to just turn me off.
Right. 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 Right.
I wanted the voice in their ear to be more valuable than the voices in the street. So
Yes.
I realized, man, I had to be that velvet brick. In other words, you know, I had to come with the approach to meet them where they were to help them get to where they were going, man. So
Yeah. Uh,
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jay.
yeah. Yeah. Because in the restoration process, people have to be aware of all the entire process because there's a tearing down to build up, and
Yep,
if not properly communicated, the tearing down will cause a tear away and a
that's right.
push away. So the restoration has to be based in the truth. It has to be based in love. If it's not based in both of those, um, it will swerve off into a, more problems, more dysfunction, and generational curses. To be straight up.
Straight
So
up. Hey, great segue, man. You know what? We're gonna hop into this clip here. Let me get into our good brother so that y'all can enjoy this. I know y'all will enjoy it because we enjoy it. This is our brother Will Johnson. He is the director up there in New York. He was interviewed over a decade ago. He was talking about his kids being 9. I know they're not 9 anymore. So without further ado, let's roll to this clip.
Well, you know today's topic. Today's topic is reconciliation. Repairing, restoring, redeeming relationships back to health, productivity, and testimony. Now, you have a testimony. Can you tell us what happened with you and your dad?
Well, with my father, we really haven't had any contact. It was a while, hit and miss, and I went to one of the Furthering Fathering workshops, and I got this one nugget that broke everything, like the floodgates just came open for me. And the phrase was, instead of thinking of my dad as a 10, that he knew everything, put him at a 3. And by realizing that, it was easier to relate to the situation. And a couple months later, I went to his church and I had some words of encouragement and some love and shared some hugs. And that was the beginning, finally, of what reconciliation was all about for me. And that's how I was able to take this spiritual word and put it in some fleshly action.
Awesome. Now, that dynamic also changes within your house because your children get to see a changed man. I remember your wife even saying that she loves what Furthering Fathering is doing, but you say it. You tell us what Furthering Fathering means to your family.
Well, being married as long as I have been, I definitely had to ask my spouse to forgive me many a time. I'm going to share something that she found me very hard to deal with. And basically she was scared of me because of how I treated her with my words. I never abused her, I never hit her, but my words, also known as the tongue, was more lethal than a sledgehammer. And it took me a while to soften up and to realize that I didn't have to say certain things in a certain way, but I can come at her in a different way. But in the midst of my transformation in that context, I asked her many times to forgive me, and she has been very gracious to say, okay. And even when I stumble, she still forgives me. So for me, that's what I think of grace. It's forgiving at the situation without keeping a record.
Oh, that's awesome.
After the workshop, a couple of months went by, and Spirit of the Lord told me to call him on the phone, which I did. And the first thing I said to him was, Dad, I forgive you. I forgive you for all that we have gone through. And at that moment, there was such a calm and peace, and I heard it in his voice, and he felt relieved. He felt such a calmness that I actually reached out and just told him that I forgave him. That's something that I never did. Never did. Because my expectations were very high. But I told him that, and we started talking about, mistakes that I've made, mistakes we made, and we came to an understanding. I still love him, I care about him, and if he asks me to do anything, to the grace of God, I will be there for him.
That is what reconciliation is all about. It's about the reconnecting, the restoring, the redeeming, the repairing of relationships back to health, back to productivity. Now, as father and son, if there's an issue with any of his 3 sons, there are 2 men in agreement that can help reconcile issues that haven't even come up yet with their children, that they can speak to the future and their generations will be blessed. This is Furthering Fathering.
Man.
Fathering, like, wow.
Yeah, man. Hey, let me bring Will in, man, because my goodness, like, Will, I know it's been some time, man, and we really haven't seen or reflected back on that. But so Will, Frank, when he's in the prison, he is actually sharing this testimony of you. So because he's allowing these brothers that go through the H.E.A.R.T curriculum to walk it through, but to understand from your perspective. So Will, thanks for joining, brother. And if you want, unless you camera shy, you can stay camera shy. But we definitely want to get your vibe, your feel, looking back at that, because we saw reconciliation in real time, man, with your testimony when this was shared with you. Feel free to join us, brother.
Oh, can you hear me now? Are you
We can
good?
hear you. Can't see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, our friend technology is not cooperating. But I'm
That's all.
trying to look at my controls to see how I can get my camera on.
No,
Let me.
well, we do see the picture of you, brother. You hugging the chair, man. We see you.
Yeah, right. All right. It is what it is. What can I tell you? At least,
I
at
know.
least the voice better than nothing right now.
Hey, exactly. And Will, let us know, man. Talk to us, man. What goes through your mind now when you see that over 10 years ago?
I just one word that comes to my spirit: growth.
Wow.
Growth. I look at myself 10 years ago, let's say, here I am now, after making that declaration to be able to live through the process over time. And I can definitely see my growth from leaps and bounds, especially with my tongue, as I mentioned earlier, which is not as sharp as it once was as far as trying to cut you down, but now it's sharp to try to lift you up and to have compassion. That's another factor that it has released and lifted up. If I could share very quickly, since that video around the time of COVID, which was about maybe 5 years ago, my father has since transitioned. And before he transitioned, I was able to see him for the last time in transition, and I was able to show empathy, which at one point would never have been a conversation piece. And even when I went to his funeral, I was able to express compassion, but I had to be very honest. And one of the things I said was, he may not have been there for me, but at the end of the day, I have forgiven him because of the Lord has released me from that burden. Because unforgiveness is a burden. I'm reminded right now, why should I have something in my head unless you're paying me rent? It just made no sense. But it took a while. It did, as Jeremy mentioned, and in the video that you saw, it didn't happen overnight. It was an ongoing process. And when I say ongoing, that was about 10 years ago that we saw that clip. Go back another 10 or 15 years until we are fast forward to today. My encouragement is to stay. Oh, maybe there we go. It might be better. Voila! Video again. Praise the Lord. At the right key moment is when you have that forgiving heart.
Yeah.
Everything else in your life, in my life, works out better. Now, I will share this with you. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to be willing to go through and to take the journey. And I was remembered by ICB, the International Christian Brotherhood. We had a segue on the father wound. And one of the things that was mentioned is, think of an iceberg. It's great on the top, but in the bottom is a whole lot of stuff that I had to go through and navigate through. And it was very painful. But thank God I had you guys and others along the way that helped me in this journey. Pastor A.R.T reminds us that we do not live in isolation, but we live in community. And part of that community can be helping. Part of that helping is part of being transformed by the renewing of your mind. So at the end of the day, I had to learn that I was not by myself. I didn't have to have the walls of Jericho so high that nobody can knock it down. Because that's when, by bringing the walls down, that's where your deliverance comes, and that's where your breakthrough comes. So I thank God for this organization that was a catalyst to help me to get to where I am today. And I'm very humbled to be able to share my story with those that are listening. And I pray that it don't take you 25 plus years. Let's try to cut it down maybe 10, 5, whatever the time is, because that burden gets very heavy very quickly and you don't even realize it. And I will say one more thing before I end. In order to be friendly, you have no, let me phrase that statement. If you want a friend, you have to be friendly. And part of being friendly is to have a certain level of vulnerability and to be open and to be transparent and to let people know where you are, embrace it without being judgmental about it.
Yeah.
That's about all for now, unless I'll let the conversation lead as it leads.
It's a powerful testimony of reconciliation, because reconciliation is not just the repairing, restoring, redeeming relationships with others. It is that, but also you're with yourself. Also with yourself. It changes your habits. I had started talking about that a little bit before. Habits, there are two habits. There's good habits and there are bad habits. The bad habits are horrible, accepted behaviors inviting thoughtless slavery. Right? Horrible, accepted behaviors inviting thoughtless slavery. But then you shift over during the process of reconciliation to honorable, affirming behaviors,
Right.
inspiring true stability. Honorable, affirming behaviors, inspiring spirit, true stability. So it's not just how you interact, but it becomes how you act. Your character is affected. So there's a reconciliation that has to happen internally. And what bitterness does is that it helps to excuse bad habits, right? It causes us to use our tongue, our time, and our talent to fuel our pride. And that only does harm to your legacy because your children see you operate in unforgiveness. You know how many cousins do not get to meet because brothers and sisters are feuding? The brothers, cousins that would be like brothers and sisters, an extension, an increase, they're not connected because the parents are at odds. Even you see the divorce rate. When the parents are at odds, you see the devastation that it does to children. I have a daughter right now that I need to reconcile with because of the difficulties that come from divorce.
Correct.
Right? And there was no abuse, there's no yelling, no negativity, but still the seed of bitterness still is producing fruits that cause separation. And what happens is with separation, there becomes a lot of assumption, right? When you don't let the person tell their story, you fill in the blanks, and it's usually the worst case scenario. All right. So reconciliation gets you to the truth that makes you free. So
yeah. No, when you mentioned divorce, I said, yeah, I don't know, but I know your stories. So I was confirming with you. But both of y'all hit on something, man. I just want to walk it back because there's different views of looking at this reconciliation piece, right? So me, part of my story growing up without my dad from the age of 3rd grade, about 8 or 9 into my adulthood, I was very bitter. Very bitter. Now, that's that perspective. But now, I always, and I think about this a lot, man. I always think about, because Jay, you hit it, the reconciliation within the family. Oftentimes you don't know the family dynamic, right? So just in January, my wife reconciled with her sister. They haven't spoken well over 10, 11 years. But it was the communication broken down. So you're right. So cousins didn't have that get together because there was no get together, but they still stayed in communication. That's the beautiful thing. And my wife
Yes.
still reached out to her nieces and nephews, and I believe so did her sister as well. But there was no connectivity.
Mhm.
Now here's the dynamic that I want us to sit on for a minute. What triggers that whole notion of drawing back is because pride, like we talked about the 9 enemies of accountability, that pride, that
Cognitive
always
dissonance.
seeps in. But
Yep.
you know it's the disrespect. And
Yes.
and I know working with our fathers all the time, man. I love it when they come and they are challenged.
Mhm.
Me, you know me, I'm an encourager, I'm an optimistic, but this is Lamont 2.0. I wasn't always this way. but but I want to encourage them to stay the course, because the root of bitterness, you can't build on a negative. And I
Right.
tell my brothers all the time, man, stay positive, stay strong, because we were there. We were there in the woods in the thick of it. And Will, I love how you even mentioned, man, he wasn't perfect, right? And I think too often we try to create that perfect, but you gave him a 2 or 3. I never thought to rate my dad, but my mom never told me anything negative about my dad. So I wasn't holding on to anything, just the fact that I felt abandoned.
Mhm.
I just felt abandoned. And then, the youngest of four boys, my other 3 brothers, a lot of people didn't know this either. They had a different father. So, one of my brothers wasn't as nice. He'd tell me, "Hey, we going to see our dad and you're not." So it was
Wow.
like one of those, damn, man, I can't even go where you guys are going to get that extra love. So yeah, I had that resentment. I had that bitterness. But I love the fact though, Jay, that when you and I started talking about this, we realized, man, there was more of us brothers that weathered it either through abandonment or through us trying to navigate ourselves out of it.
Mhm.
Thank God we didn't get into a lot of vices that would have held us down.
Yeah.
And we had brothers like you said, Will, we helped you unknowingly though, Will. Like I didn't
Right.
know, but I could guarantee you, Jay was pulling me up out of them foxholes, man. Because brother, I was I was hurt, and again, I was law enforcement. So if you came across me on the wrong day, you got an extra ticket or 2 or 3. So I appreciate the fact that we had to find our way to recreate the narrative and create something healthy. Like I said,
Yeah.
you can't build on the negative. And man,
Yeah.
for us, and I love how we function at Further and Father. We don't share brothers' stories out there, man, but we hear the stories, man.
Yes.
And you know what's rotten, and this is something I'm gonna veer off a little from the reconciliation,
Mhm.
is that oftentimes the root of bitterness is because you're tired of being vulnerable, you're tired of being Mr. Nice Guy.
Mhm, mhm.
So you create that hard exterior.
Mhm.
But what it does, when unforgiveness, you just created a nice home for unforgiveness.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
I'll stop there, brothers. I want I see. I know reconciliation is our shortest module, but I love that we could have these conversations because I just hope it blesses someone else, you know?
Yes. Yes. Um.
Can I comment very quickly about that forgiveness? I learned over time that forgiveness is for yourself. Okay, forgiveness is for you. The reconciliation is for the other person. And I share that to say this: as long as I had forgiven myself, if the other person don't forgive or don't want to, no, let me rephrase that. I can forgive, which is one singular, but the reconciliation or the reconcile part is two. So I need to learn to be in peace with forgiving myself in spite of what I went through and with no blame or no animosity attached.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the reconciliation, if the other person wanted to be part of the process, then that's great. If they chose not to, that's okay too,
Yeah.
because I am at peace with myself. That surpasses all understanding. So I had to learn the difference, because sometimes we tend to use reconciliation and forgiveness in the same sentence. But the reality is, gentlemen and ladies, it's not really the same. It's a
Yes.
difference, and it has its unique points. So
Yes.
just be mindful as you're going through
Mm.
that. First, forgive yourself, or
Yeah.
be,
Yes.
and that you can have that conversation with a trusted confidant to help
Yeah.
you in that process,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then you can move on from there
No, I agree.
to try to reconcile and
Yes.
come to terms with that.
No,
Yes.
I agree. I agree, Will, because at one point I didn't know that there was a difference. But then I realized reconciliation takes two people at work.
Yes.
But you're right. Forgiveness is instantaneous. Like that's your moment with you and God the Father to say, man, this is where I'm weak. Strengthen me here, because boy, every time I look at this person, I got a problem.
Mm,
Yes.
mm, I know that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, yes, yes.
And then it's funny you talked about process, because it takes us back to some of the very first further and fathering meetings back when we were at CCC. And
Mm-hmm.
I think of brother the other JM,
Woo.
Jerome Moyen. And Jerome came in and he said, man, first of all, he said, can I use my camera? And he formed a whole business after that with the camera. But we were talking about reconciliation. And I knew he was a motorcycle head. And he liked to work on his motorcycles. So sometimes just impromptu, just off the cuff.
Yeah.
I asked uh, um, Jerome, can you work on you just got your motorcycles making noise or what have you and sputtering. What do you have to do to fix your motorcycle?
Yeah.
And he smiled, right? And because this is the same with restoring, repairing, and redeeming relationships. Because
Mm-hmm.
man, we like to fix things, but relationships is one of the hardest. Something just happened in my home and I was quiet while it was happening. I got to deal with it. Anyway,
Yes, yes.
um, you have to know that something is supposed to work, how it's supposed to work properly. That's the first part.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to know, just by hearing the sound. But if you see a car with the back leaned off, its alignment is off. You have to see visually, and you have to hear. But
Yeah.
before that, you have to know what good function is, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to sound, right? Because I took it a little further than even what Jerome said, is you have to lift it and put it in position, right?
Mm-hmm.
To put it under conditions where it can be properly seen and heard,
Love it.
right? Right? You have to know connections and what else will be affected,
Mm-hmm.
right? And who else will be affected.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know what is malfunctioning and what needs to be replaced and how to remove it. You just some things you gotta know how to remove it. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
as simple all the time. That's why it's a process,
That's right.
and
Mm-hmm.
without affecting anything else. And once it's replaced, because even before that, you have to allow it to cool off. You can't work with a hot engine.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a fight, an argument that happens, the right answer is not going to come by escalation, right? It's going to come through de-escalation.
Mm-hmm.
And other people may be mad at you because you didn't escalate. That's a whole other thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
the easy way out is to escalate. The way that works is to de-escalate.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you start to put things in place, you have to test it.
Yes.
You have to test it. You have to see it working, right? That's where the trust starts to build. Oh, I can see, okay, this is starting to work. So what is being restored is also trust. What is
Mm-hmm.
being restored is also balance.
Yeah.
So reconciliation is much, much more than just saying, I'm sorry and I forgive you. It's way,
Mhm.
way, way more than that. It's reworking because you're creating actually a whole new relationship.
Mhm.
We're going into resurrection now. You're resurrecting something completely new.
Yes.
So you have to. That's why the will is more is in charge, right? The soul never forgets, and the emotions want to dictate what's going on. But you
Mhm.
have to operate at the top level. The will, the will tell you, I'm going to love this person. I'm going to take my time, operate in patience. I'm going to hear them.
Mhm.
Because when you're mad, you don't hear nothing. People
Now,
say,
Mhm.
I see
now,
red. But your ears get stopped up when you see red too.
Mhm. Mhm. That's right. That's right.
so,
and
so,
you,
so,
you
and
know,
faith
Jay,
comes by hearing.
no, Jay,
Yes,
you're hitting on a bunch of cylinders there, man.
yeah, yeah. To get back in motion, to get the relationship back moving the way it's supposed to move.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's going to take the process. And
Yes.
you can't skip steps. A quick, you know me, quick, a quick acronym for repair. R, recognize, acknowledge, issue clearly. I see where I hurt you. Recognize. E, as we just went through on Monday, empathy or empathize. I feel what they feel without defending yourself. I understand that hurts you.
Yeah.
E, participate in the process. Engage in the process without withdrawing.
Mhm.
A, this big one, because men sometimes we don't look weak. Apologize.
Mhm.
Apologize. Clear, direct, no excuses. If you hadn't done this, I would have. No, 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 no. No, look for the way out of it. Just say,
Mhm.
I did this wrong, I did this wrong, and I know this affected you this way. I was
Mhm.
wrong. Please forgive me. Then
Mhm.
I comes the hard part because it may not be accepted. Your checks may bounce, right? Invest. You have to
Mhm.
invest, right? Put in new behaviors that rebuild trust,
Mhm.
boundaries, communication, patterns, accountability, and then R, rebuild, establish a new normal, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not
No,
going to
no,
be the way
no.
it
Oh,
was.
see, Bishop. All that is great, and I'm just sitting here going, man. You know, as I was younger, none of that resonated. But I was told, you know, take a walk and cool off. Right?
Yes,
Mhm.
We can
yes,
start there. Let's just start
yes,
there. Take a walk, cool off, clear your head.
yes,
Call your accountability brother.
yes,
Start there, right?
yes,
Because you're not wise in your own eyes, especially when you're frustrated.
yes.
And
Mhm.
you and Bishop, it's funny you said that, man. 'Cause when I saw we had Herman and the iPhone on. I just extended the invitation if they wanted to join, if they had anything they wanted to add, something that really resonated with them as we were discussing. We'll bring you on camera, man. No big deal. Hey, but I wanted to say this though, Bishop, because when I got off the phone, well, Monday when we got off that call with the brothers, it really resonated with me that because there's also another approach because I knew we was going to talk about reconciliation
Mhm.
is that I when you did this it made me
Mhm.
feel this, right?
Yes,
When
yes,
you said that it made
yes,
me feel this. When you do
yes,
that, so now you're literally putting it back on them
yes,
because you gave them a warning.
yes.
If this made me uncomfortable and now I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
if you repeat it, now you're intentionally hurting me. You're being
Yes,
Mhm.
mean, cruel, and
yes,
ugly.
yes,
And now I have to put some space in between us, you know.
yes,
Mhm.
So I just wanted to share that, man. But you know, I love reconciliation, Jay,
Yes,
because what it does, it for me, it brings everything back into perspective. Like
yes,
like I don't want to feed negative energy when I could be building something positive over here. That's
exactly.
that's just me. So, like I used to always pull back, and pull back far. Like, hey, I'm just gonna get away from you. But when it's those relationships that you love, like you mentioned your daughter, I want everybody around us to win, man.
Yes,
Like life is short.
yes.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Mm-mm.
You know, why hold on to that stuff if you don't have to?
That's
The
right.
person who cries the hardest at the funeral. The person who cries the hardest at the funeral is the person who didn't reconcile.
Mm-hmm.
The person who did not get a chance to reconcile
Mm-hmm.
or intentionally avoided the
Yes.
opportunity to reconcile. Like you said, tomorrow's not promised. You can focus on the negatives and you can see a person and paint them in the color of the negatives all you want, but that's only in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's only in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's not reality.
Nah,
Your anger is not the totality of reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until you forgive till you start to see.
Yes.
It really is not until you need to be forgiven
Mm-hmm.
that you understand the importance of forgiveness. It's when you need to be forgiven
Mm-hmm.
when you messed up, when you did something that caused someone else hurt. Until you deal with the bitterness in you, you're going to make excuses to hurt others.
yeah.
I'm just this way. No, you're not just. You are that way, but you're not just. Right?
You choose to be that way, right?
You
You made a
choose
you
to be
made a
that way.
conscious choice to
Exactly.
be that. Hey, Will,
Exactly.
man. Man,
Sir.
I want to hear it goes quick, man. But I just wanted you to chime in, man, because I know, um, growing up, you know, um, having a strong minded dad. You and Jay, that's the similarities that you both have, man. Like y'all dad was, tell it like it is. And oftentimes, I'm glad that you had the opportunity to have that conversation with your dad before he transitioned. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
but I'm
Yes. Yes.
glad you didn't carry that, you know, unresolved bitterness or pinned up, because it had to go somewhere. It would have went somewhere. Don't know where,
Yeah.
but we know what the mind can't handle. It throw off on the body. So I'm
And
really glad
others.
that you had that opportunity, man.
Yep.
I am grateful also, and I thank God for a particular brother who shared with me after going through a similar experience with a loved one. Don't let, while you have the chance to reconcile or at least attempt to communicate, as my brother-in-law once reminds me, use your jawbone. Well, I used it, and I found that when he did transition and passed on, I have to thank God that I did not hold anything in me. I was able to express it. Now, I will share this. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be peaches and cream, but it's, as I said, and I said it several times already, it's a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yes.
And we men strive for peace because we go through so much. We wear so many hats. We go through so much stuff. Our stories are challenging at times.
Yeah.
But when you have peace, as Jeremy mentioned, you can see yourself clear. You can see yourself in a different place. You don't have any, I would say, excuse, because I say this a lot of times. It is a choice. You have to choose to be willing to go through the process. It's a choice. For many a year, I knew it, but I didn't want to choose it because it was just too painful.
Mm.
But it comes to a point in time, and for me, it took me roughly 20 years I pray that if you can understand these lessons, because as you guys had mentioned, my father wasn't there. The But we call the idiot box, if you will, that was my father. The difference is a 30-minute sitcom is not reality. You just follow a script and then move on to the next script. When that series is over, they get another script or another show. That is not reality. You can use it in entertainment, you can pick up some nuggets. But my life was basically that TV was my father for all intents and purposes, but it wasn't real. That's the point I'm saying. When you be with like minded people, real people, people who actually care and are not judgmental, then the process, even though painful at some point, is better. Because I said before, we're not designed to go through this alone. Fatherhood, manhood, all that where we don't have to do it alone. Because that's where we stumble, we hold ill will, and we make some of the biggest mistakes. Because we don't have a chance to express. We don't have a chance to come to some mean of the mind. You don't get another perspective because you think your perspective is all right. I mean, it was like was mentioned earlier that we can look at things from I call a rose color eyes, if you will, but it's not real. It's not clear. It's your mind. I'll end with this. It's the hard transformation which winds up becoming the mind modification. It comes from here, then it comes to here. Remember, gentlemen and ladies, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And within those 2 ears, we have a mind that should be working. But you have to allow it to work, and it starts from the heart.
Amen. 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 Yes, the
Hey,
H.E.A.R.T.
yeah, he hit that. And Jay, in the workbook, man, I don't know if you remember, but we took a page out of workshop that Pastor Bernard had walked us through, which is to write a letter,
Yes.
forgiving your dad or a person that have hurt you through neglect, abandonment, or just an exchange of some harsh words.
Yes.
And I never forget, man, like I started writing my dad the letter, and that was cool until we got into the small group and I had to read it back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And once I started reading it back, man, I'm looking down at my paper and it has tears on it,
Yeah.
it
Mm-hmm.
drops. And that was a moment for me because I didn't realize I was carrying something that wasn't good for me.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was finally getting out. And it was
Right.
yeah. And again, had you told me, hey, go sit with a therapist, I probably would have thought that was taboo at the time, right? Because
Mm.
that was years ago. But it was great that I was in a circle with my band of brothers that I trusted, and we were just walking through some stuff. And man, that was cleansing for me. That was the start. That was
Mm-hmm.
really the start. And then I remember contacting him, sending him a card,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Yes.
called me back. And I remember the conversation. And years later,
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet him. We got to talk, and then he called me one day, and I'm out. I'm gonna just say patrolling the streets, but I pulled over. We were talking, and he said, "Hey, tell your mother she did a good job with you."
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm out here to save the city, man, but I'm in the car crying like a baby because
Mm-hmm.
that was the little 9, 10-year-old that never got the confirmation then. But it's a process. It just don't happen right away, and it's great that we can do this and have this kind of dialogue, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the challenge that Frank has in the prisons with these guys, man. These guys never did this before, man, but they're in there writing these letters, getting choked up, so that what goes on here stays here. He has to reiterate that, especially when he gets to reconciliation, because these
Mm-hmm.
guys have some real pinned up aggression that's
Mm-hmm.
finally they're dealing with it. So kudos to all the brothers that's not afraid to tap in, man, and
Yes.
work with their emotions,
Yes.
to get that out of them to be the best version of themselves, man. But I'm gonna
Yes.
stop there, man.
Yeah.
I'll leave the rest to you guys, man. Y'all can talk us through until we get on out of here.
We're told to avoid harsh words. Um, Harsh words stoke flames, creates war. We're in a war right now, literally right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have unadvised foolishness of bombing a place and expecting them not to defend themselves. Well, it's just like that with harsh words.
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 15:1, I live by it. A soft answer turneth away wrath. You can't yell your apology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Frank,
I,
Frank.
I had to get it myself. I had to figure out how to get in here. Good evening. Good evening.
You made it, sir. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, I just said, okay, something's going on my screen here.
Yes.
What? There you go.
Jay, so no, you're right, Jay. You can't scream in an apology.
No, no. Or the request for forgiveness.
Mm.
If your request for forgiveness is too combative, you either create a volatile situation where the person is forced to defend themselves, or you create hiding and you never see them again, or you exacerbate the abandonment because now they don't want to see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a soft answer turneth away wrath, not just the wrath of the one receiving it,
Yeah.
but your own wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to temper our words, our internal words,
Mm-hmm.
the words that we want to say.
Mm-hmm.
You
Send
can't
your
say
emotions to school. You right. You right.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. You know, not everything that comes to your mind needs to come out your mouth.
That's right. That's right.
Think before you speak is not just think before you speak. Is it true? Is it honorable? Is it intelligent? Is it nice? Is it kind?
Yeah.
It's not. It's more. It's. Is it? Is when you ponder on these things, on these things. Is it true? Is it honest? Is it just? Is it pure? Is it lovely? Is it a good report? Think on these things. Well, when you think on those things, you start to see the connections of all things working together good for good. So you can say thank you for the DNA,
Mm-hmm.
right? No matter how angry you are at your father, you can thank him for the
Mm-hmm.
DNA, right? You,
Mm-hmm.
you can thank him
Mm-hmm.
for your stature. If you got some good looks, you thank him.
Mm-hmm.
Looks, you know what I mean? He gave you something.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you something. And if it's your mother, it's the same thing. Because people don't talk about the motherhood wound.
Right.
There are a lot of young men who've gone through verbal abuse,
Right.
being compared to the guy who was not there. you know, and reconciliation is all encompassing. It doesn't create a bubble. It doesn't put you in a bubble. It frees you.
Mm-hmm.
Unforgiveness freezes you.
Mm-hmm.
Reconciliation frees you, right?
Yes.
And we want to operate in that freedom. And it's no matter how shiny the chain is, it could be gold, but it's still a chain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's still a chain. So unforgiveness, your success will not make up for your bitterness.
No, that's right.
Matter of
That's right.
fact, you will claw your way to the top and hurt people along the way, proving that person wrong.
I love
You'll
it.
hurt people. There'll be collateral damage.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So reconciliation turns you into the hero you're supposed to be and keeps you from becoming the villain you could be.
That's good.
Yep. So
That's
But
good.
when you're already the villain, then you got to work your way back to the position where you're not seen as a villain.
yeah.
Uh, and I know you jumped into it, and I'm kind of popping in late. I apologize, but reconciliation when I'm dealing with the guys, and as a matter of fact, we and I just finished up a session with Metro Reentry, and one of the young men in there, as we were finishing up, he broke down and said to me, through reconciliation, through the class and talking about reconciliation and being able to get that pain out of him on the paper, to be able to talk to people about it and really deal with it. For the first time, he was able to have a conversation with his father. But here's the thing, his father was on his dying bed.
Mm.
And he said his sister, who through this, we gotten to the point where he now has started working and having the conversation with his sister through this reconciliation with her and helping, going through her. And then out of that, she was at the hospital and called him, he called and found out he was in the hospital and he was in a coma, not in a coma, but he wasn't talking. He said he wasn't talking, he was breathing, hardly breathing hard. But he said the letter that he wrote, the reconciliation letter that he wrote, he read it to his father. And his sister said he opened his eyes when he forgave him for the things that that went on between the two of them. And the brother broke down and cried. He was very honest with him that this reconciliation session that we had helped him to get to the point. And now he's going to make sure he worked and build his relationship with his sisters, and then they can help him with the rest of the family. So to watch him use the things that we discuss and being able to take that, and I always say, is taking that pain and putting it on paper. As long as it's inside of you, it's going to make you sick. It's going to really do things to you that you don't really like, but pulling it out, at least it's out there. You can look with it and you can do what you want to do.
Exactly.
Amen. I like what he said, sir. Very quickly, if I can interject very quickly, is what it sounds like we call an action plan. This is what you're planning to do. And I'm sharing that because as you're documenting your situation and then come back to it maybe 5-10 years later and see how you transition, how you have grown. And I'm only sharing this because when we leave this platform, we still got to live our lives. So what are we going to do to try to make that first step? And when I saw the beginning of the program until now, I was amazed at the growth and the process, which is documented. So my encouragement to all those that are listening, either you can jot down your thoughts or however you choose to go, or take a picture or take a video of yourself and then come back later and review it and then see how the growth, because the growth will be there. The growth will be there no matter where you are. But sometimes we need to be reminded through documentation, through the video that I saw on myself. And again, you may have to write it down, whatever it is. Just be able to document where you are and then come back to it later on. I mean, I was just overwhelmed when I saw my story. And I pray that it can help somebody else when they're going through their story and they might be able to share it with somebody else. But it has to start with you.
You're right, Will. And so you got to see your story again, huh, Will?
Yes, I did.
I see it more often than you do. So
I was wrong, and I'm glad. Now, I'll tell you something, my friend. I'm glad that it's helping somebody else. See, when you share your life, you don't know who you're going to be helping. I had no idea that my story was helping those down south. But I'm glad that it is helping somebody so that prayerfully they won't have to go through all the stuff that I went through and take that 40-year walk when you can probably maybe do it in 40 days.
Amen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, not that quick now, Will. I'm done.
But it'll take a lot less time than 40 years. Can we agree on that at
That's
least?
true. Yeah, we agree on that one. Yeah, definitely. That if it takes 40 years to reconcile, now that's not even worth it. There, that means that you didn't even leave the starting blocks.
It's always worth it. It's
You
always
gotta
worth it.
start someplace. You gotta start someplace.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
uh,
Go
uh,
ahead. Go ahead.
I just, as we have a little bit of time, there was a declaration in further and father, and I pray that we can pick this up and lift this up at some point. It says, "I commit to being a man who repairs what I break,
Mm,
a man who restores what I neglect, and
mm,
redeems what I've been through. I will not allow pride, fear, or shame to rob my relationships of health. I choose reconciliation
mm.
because my family, my future, and my legacy depends on it."
Yes, yes, yes.
Perfect. Perfect.
Break that generational curse, gentlemen. Break that generational curse.
Key thing about it is being able to teach them to understand you can't carry that into the next level of your life, especially I think when the guys that we're dealing with when they're coming out, they've done something and someone's done something to them and they've got issues that they're dealing with. So the thing is to talk to them about looking at the generations and concentrate on that. Concentrate on your family, your future, your children, which is the ultimate goal is to mature them up. Those are the things because if you continue to carry hatred in your heart and in your soul, then you're not really doing what God has told you to do. God said, if you want to be forgiven, forgive. And the thing is that that's the thing that really just drives me every day in dealing with this. Lamont, I sent you the surveys today, and I was blown away. I tell you, I don't really look at that stuff, but I was blown away at some of the comments the brothers made, man, about themselves and their life and God. And, it was just like, whoa. But anyway.
No, I'm smiling, Frank, because I have a research summary from all of them that I'm gonna share it with you. I just let my wife read it, but let me tell you though, Frank, the journey that you take the brothers on, and that's why we do this webinar. So we've seen the impact that Frank has been having when he goes inside of the prisons. We see it. It's a transformative. I mean, Frank, when I went in there with you a couple of years ago, and we were in Rockdale jail, man, and you was going in, brother. Like you was going in. We was at encouragement, right? Frank hit the second module, man. I had goosebumps. You know, I saw the look on these brothers' faces, man, and but what did it for me, when the power went out and we was on lockdown, I ain't go back with Frank. He was on his own after that. But brother, Frank, I to say this though, Frank, and and I'm glad sharing this. I have to give you your flowers, man. You have a report, Frank, of 9.6 out of 10 with this cohort.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
The proof is in the pudding,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
proof is in the pudding because it is a transformative concept of you're going in and you're giving them some tools, man, that they could walk away with, and for them to be able to reconcile, I think that's one of the things that we don't talk about. Like Will saying, and we know it, right? Forgiveness is, that's one thing. Reconciliation is another.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew, right? So I didn't carry the pain in my heart, not even knowing what it was. That's the other thing, right? you got a short fuse and don't know why. You're yelling at the kids, don't know why. Like they, you. But we live and learn. We live and
Yes.
learn. If we can do now that don't take 40 years, like you said, Will, then we're doing the right thing, man.
It's amazing you say that because I say, and I have to refer back to me when we're teaching, facilitating this curriculum. I have to refer to them and let them know, don't wait till you're 50 to let God start giving you all the gifts that He has for you.
Amen.
You know, you done missed a whole lot of gifts by then.
Yeah.
You know, so that relationship is a key thing. And one area when we talk about the seven, not seven styles, but seven learning styles.
Yes, that's next week. That's next week.
Next week.
Join us for
We'll
that.
leave that
That's
alone. We'll
next
leave
week.
that alone.
It's training. It's training.
I'll leave that alone.
Hey man,
but
give me
but
your
but
last thoughts, man. Frank, I'll start with you, then Will, then Jay, and we gotta hear. Oh, we even over time, but it's all good.
wait a minute. I missed something because I was thinking out loud to myself. What did you say just then, Lamont?
Oh, last thoughts, because we over our hour. But
Oh, okay. Well,
any last thoughts, brother?
this is the thing I want to plug in. This is my last thought. This is something that I've been using when I go in, and this is by Preston Gilhern. Things only men know. Things only men know. And it says a man is created for challenges. He is equipped to overcome, to run the gauntlet, to stand firm as a well-anchored corner post. Men are the benchmark in life, society, and family. It is part of the masculine responsibility to demonstrate strength and stability, to protect and provide for those within their sphere of influence. This is a hallmark of manhood. Let's
Amen.
plug that in.
Amen.
Frank,
Just that.
thanks for sharing that, Frank. In fact, brother, I took a screenshot of it because Frank, I want to include that
Okay.
when we do give them their letter of support.
You know, it's funny. I've been running copies of it, but now we can get it even better. I have. I've been
It's
making copies.
at the very bottom of their letter of support.
Okay, yeah, that works. That works. Because I've been passing out a copy at the graduation when I pass out certificates. That's what I've been passing out.
No, I heard your heart earlier, man, that you wanted to share that. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
appreciate it. Appreciate it, my brother.
Will, what about you, brother?
Okay, I was just looking at a poem that I wrote several years ago. I'm only going to read the last the last part of it. But one day I hope to be able to share the entire poem. But here's part I want to leave as a thought, as a talking point. So when you're given another chance, don't be so sad. Just remember, you are a dad.
Mm, wow.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Hey,
Awesome.
man,
Awesome.
Hey,
Awesome.
we're
Awesome.
gonna come
being a
back.
dad overtakes sadness.
Look, man, I want to know.
Now,
So join us next week, man. Let's hear Will's poem, man, because again, Will, you never know the impact, like you just said, that you will have on someone else by your word of encouragement, man. And just so you know, Will,
Sir.
hundreds of lives, hundreds of families have been impacted by your story
Mm-hmm.
unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. In fact,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
impact report will be out next week, so you get to see just how many.
Yeah.
Come on, Bishop, close us out, man.
okay. Even as we deal with the barriers to, last week we spoke about the enemies of accountability, well, the barriers to reconciliation.
Mm.
The same first one, pride, says, I'm not
Mhm.
wrong. Avoidance says it'll fix itself. Fear says, what if they reject me?
Mm.
Shame says, I messed up too bad. And control says, they need to change first.
Mm.
We need to break the shackles. Even as I look at Frank, and his title says incarceration coordinator. Unforgiveness is a form of spiritual incarceration, and reconciliation frees us. I pray for your freedom.
Good
Father,
stuff.
I ask that you free us
Yes.
from unforgiveness, uproot
Yeah.
all bitterness,
Mhm.
help us to quell or quench the wrath with the soft words that speak grace and
Yes.
mercy. We thank you for victory in the
Yes.
matchless name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, who
Yes.
reconciled us to you so that we could have eternal life. We thank you, hallelujah, for reconciliation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Re-
You. Thank you.
resurrection power.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Hey, and with that,
Amen.
we're gonna see you all next week again. This is our webinar series, short, sweet, 1 hour. It's impossible to do these sessions in just 1 hour, but we only giving y'all the tip of the iceberg. But we'll see you all next week. Until then, we love you. Lock in with us and tell somebody to join us next week on Thursday, 6:30.